I often say there's no point listening to people who react out of impulse and they don't provide like a conversation of substance. It's so stupid. It never makes sense. You know, the reality is when you look at comments in general, people get reactive, and I know they do. People get reactive before they've even seen the depth of the content. They make a judgment. They might even make a judgment based on a title of a video. So at the very least, you just want if like you can handle criticism. Criticism is engaging. It helps enable other thoughts of conversation, you know. But if someone just keeps it very minimal, it adds absolutely nothing. So then, what you have to do, you then have to, if you want to sort of like dissect it, you have to literally question everything yourself because they haven't even provided anything of substance. So what on earth is the point of commenting? Now, this video I did, I don't when I do my videos, I don't accept like people to praise anything. I find it rarely does it happen. I always laugh to myself though internally when I see downvotes because I think how sad and pathetic are you that you've had to go and press, because like people are so petulant. If I don't like, so I say it all the time, if I don't like something, I just move on. I don't look to cause issue with people's content, you know. And I think it's ridiculous. Like, I've always had a problem with social media in general, like all the platforms. I think giving people the chance to be negative reactions to things to that depth, I think it's stupid. What's the point of giving a downvote button? Why downvote it? It'll be obvious. It should be enough in itself to see how many people have liked a video and how many views it's had. I don't think you have to sort of like stamp the approval on there. Like to say people hate it by clicking the downvote. I think you just anyone that clicks downvote on a video, I think it's absolutely sad and pathetic. And I'm not talking about just my videos in general. I don't go around doing that shit. If I don't like it, I just move on to another video. I don't waste my time doing that. But for people to think, you know what, I'm going to make a point here, I just think you're a dickhead. And that's just being honest. Let's be transparent here. So there is a little bit of an issue with comments at the moment. Right? I don't get many in general anyway, but it seems to be getting filtered a lot, and I'm trying my best to figure out why it's doing it, and I've tried to disable certain things to allow things through. For instance, I can't, let me move this over a minute. So I did one about Trump. Someone put Kamala needs to be the president. And I liked it just because, you know, I'm not really favouring one political party, one candidate over the other, to be totally honest, but Trump's just absolutely inept and corrupt. It's unreal. And if you can't see that, you've got your head up your arse, you're just following a freaking moron. It just makes you a moron too, you know? It's like I can't help people that have just got their head up his arse. Anyway, so yeah, I clicked that, and then I pinned it because it was the only way for that comment to appear at all. I couldn't get it to show. I knew there was a comment, I just couldn't find out what the hell the comment was. And then I recognised a new comment, and I was like, who's this? And I couldn't find it. So if you can't find comments, you might have to go on this shit. Now, this shouldn't be a filter because it literally is sort. Sort isn't a filter. Sort is to organise. Filter is to, you know, make some things appear, make some things disappear. That's sort. So if you go here, top comments, it's just that one because I pinned it. If you go on newest first, now all of a sudden it appears. It's just stupid. All the platforms are crap, to be totally honest. All have issues. So they put. Now, bear in mind, this was based off a nearly 2-hour video in which I was, for the most part, reacting to content I've been seeing a lot on social media. So I was just providing my perspective on top of what was already being expressed, pretty much. And of course, I had my own opinions on certain things, from things I've witnessed myself. And so, I'm not here to spread lies or misinformation. You know, we'll always have an opinion. An opinion isn't propaganda, is it? Opinion is an opinion. We were allowed to have an opinion that goes against other people's. You can't start going, that's propaganda just because you've got a different opinion. Let's get your head out your ass. It's like, that's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm just saying that because the comment was pointless, absolutely pointless. And I tried to react and they haven't said anything back. And this is my other thing. Like, why are people so quick to comment, but very slow to react? So it's all right for them to plaster shit on someone's video, but then they're very slow to engage beyond it. They just like stamp shit everywhere. And I taught that. You leave a layer of shit everywhere. And that's what they do. So I was really just intrigued. Like, what is wrong? What did I do that was wrong then? Because I know innately, the majority of people who comment, for the most part, they usually comment after the first 30 seconds of a video. So they struggle to articulate a sentence, but they struggle to have anything of substance within it because they don't even know what you said. They just took umbrage to, like, exception to the content in general. So it's ridiculous. Look, if someone doesn't like the content or the theme, of course you don't expect them to watch the whole entirety of a video, but you'd expect them to at least watch something of substance to gain information from it, to say, this I don't agree with. Like, what specifically though? Because how can I work? Like, first of all, how can I work on it? Although my opinion isn't really likely to be different unless you're going to be really intelligent and provide some perspective that I've missed. And to be honest, the way I've been watching content and I dissect it myself and I've formed opinion over a vast amount of time, it's very unlikely someone's like political agenda or bias is really going to sway me. But by any means, conversation I think is good. So of course, I'm always open to hearing other people's perspective. And I always say that, like, you don't have to comment; you can make your own content too. So I don't like pointing people out and being too negative about it, but it's like, you leave a comment, then it's only fair that if you react to something I do, then I'm allowed to react back. It's like, surely that's fair. Otherwise, what's the point? It's why I disabled comments on TikTok, because TikTok doesn't allow you to comment back without it being silenced. You literally get it blocked. Your video, so someone can say something, you react, and your comment keeps getting blocked. So I'm like, well, that's not fair then. If I can't react to it, then there's no point letting people talk, because that's not fair. So if you leave a comment, I should be able to comment back, or I'll do a video in response if I feel I've got a lot more to say on the matter. I think that's fair, no? Like, you can't just have people reacting to shit and everybody else has to be quiet. So I took the time to make a 2-hour video, or nearly 2-hour video. I liked it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have posted it. Let's get that in our heads. If I don't think something's good enough, or I don't agree, I don't think I did a good job with it, I'm not obviously going to post it, am I? Because you record it. It's not like you're recording it. It's not like you're doing it live on the platform. You're recording it and then you're publishing it. So there's a whole process there. So of course, by the time I published it, I agree with what I said. Of course, otherwise, why am I doing what I'm doing? Anyway, all this rambling to try and make sense of something that was very short. It's a very short snippet, and it annoys me because it's like they're providing nothing, absolutely nothing. It's just stupid. Like, this is my problem with society in general. People are just thick as shit, and they're so reactive that they just do stuff out of impulse. They try to destroy someone's narrative, but they don't even provide a rebuttal of substance. Like, at least provide something. Don't act thick. Don't engage with me if you're thick. Let's be honest. God's sake, you are not speaking truth. You're speaking propaganda. So we've established twice within this fragmented sentence that I'm definitely speaking. So we've established speaking because they said it twice. Now, I don't want to be anal retentive, but I do pick up on things. If people are repetitive, especially when they talk, I hear people say okay and like a lot in content, and I get fed up with that shit. I can't watch them. But I don't want to digress. So you're not speaking truth. You are speaking propaganda. So what side of politics? Because if you're talking propaganda, it's usually political. So what side of politics am I swaying towards? Because I'm not even political. I'm not political. I don't pick parties. I'm not interested in that shit. I'm more interested in just the balance of fairness, justice. So like, I don't favour a party because I think most of the parties can't be trusted anyway. So most will be righteous in one moment, and then they'll go and do the acts. They'll go and do similar to what the others did after when they gained power. It seems to be the thing. I've always said that throughout history. When was there a happy period? When was life fair? When wasn't there sort of poverty, famine, all these issues? There's a lot of suppression. So you say it's speaking propaganda. I didn't even talk about these topics, but if you look at America in general, you don't need someone to paint you a picture and show you with a diagram. Surely you can see it through your head, through your own eyes, and you hear it enough. So if anyone, it's like you talk facts and people don't like it. If you just look at the American healthcare system, for instance, let's go on that tangent. We probably say this is propaganda. It's unaffordable for the majority of people. And I say majority of people, if you're not wealthy, it's unaffordable. You can't even afford an ambulance. So there's that. And then you get doctors who make you have tests and go down a route of something you didn't ask for. Maybe you asked for something specific and they deny that because they're saying we have to go through this whole process, which of course costs money. The pharmaceuticals, your medicine, it's unaffordable for the majority of people to the point where they spend their whole life just trying to afford this shit. And they probably, for the vast amount of people, they die with debt. So tell me where that's fair. And then you look at the food, like the food. I hear it all the time. You see it all the time. People from America, they travel to Europe, they go to England and other European countries, and they say they've been eating so much food, and yet they've lost weight. Is that propaganda? I mean, this is the thing. You speak things, people don't like it. It's propaganda. These people are just morons. It's the thick as shit. I don't like saying that about people, but some people just are. I'm sorry. They act like they're intelligent because they literally watch a goldfish. It's like, man, you follow Trump if you want to follow Trump. You can listen to a moron bumble his way through a conversation. You can watch him take credit for the problems he caused. In fact, and apparently found a solution, even though people have been crying out for for the things in general. Like, if you just look at it, the immigrant situation, where like I've been crying out from it since the beginning of his presidency when he mentioned about deporting immigrants. How is that fair when people are working their ass off and it's like they're not causing any harm? And then you see it, like the price of food and groceries and everything, all the bills went up. And then Trump's taking credit for the fact the prices come down. And yet there was no evidence to support those claims. He just makes stupid statements, and then some people just believe it because it comes out of it, because he speaks it. He speaks out of his arse. He speaks out of his arse. The guy can't be trusted at all. He takes credit for anything that's good, and he don't take responsibility for anything he does wrong. And half the things he takes credit for are not even his things to take credit for. He just sees it. He's an opportunist. That's all he is. So anyway, you saw it there, where they were trying to deport people working on the farms, which people needed for food, which then meant there was a lack of food. So there's shortages, which then, of course, puts the price up of food because it's like supply and demand. There's not enough supply, so there's too much demand. Price of food goes up. All because, partly, not to say all because, but a huge part is that Trump is deporting the people that actually supply the food. So, we can go around in circles with this. But I'm having to sort of like figure out what they're talking about, because you're not speaking the truth, you're speaking propaganda. So to understand that, I have to try to understand, where did I lie? I don't lie. That's the thing with me. You can watch all my content. Go and spend some time. Of course, you're not going to if you don't like me, but I don't expect you to. But I'd love for people just to watch through my content and then tell me where I lie, because I'm actually probably one of the most transparent people you meet. If I'm having a bad day, I'll explain I'm having a bad day. If I see a flaw in myself, I'll explain that flaw. So I have no reason to try to be anything other than myself. So, from that side, I just think you are not speaking truth. It's just stupid as shit. So let's just get that right. And you're like propaganda. Why would I talk propaganda? Doesn't make sense. So then that brings me, like I say, then I've got to think, because is that everything I said? Is everything I said a lie and propaganda, or is it a subsection of what I said? But because they're not even providing any, look, just to make it clear to people, if you really want to leave comments and be constructive, what you can do is you can literally find a timestamp on my videos. See the times here. You can put that in the comment. If you put a timestamp, you put the exact way it's written. So you put the two circles, the way it's written there. Do everything exactly how it's written at the time of something. You can put that in your comment, and then I can actually go to that moment and I can see what you're actually referring to. Because I understand it's a long video. Put timestamps in and clarify. And then, because maybe there's something I've missed. Maybe there's something I haven't quite analysed properly, and I can appreciate that. I'm always looking to grow. So I'm not like ridiculously defensive to the point where I can't self-reflect. I always like to reflect. I always like to improve. So by all means, if you can be constructive, I'm all for it. If you're just going to make stupid statements and not even back it up, it makes no sense to me. I always say this. I get fed up like arguing with stupid people. It annoys me. It's like, at least have intelligence, and then we can have a little bit of debate. I like that. That's interesting. It gets me excited. I like debate. I like constructive conversations. I like to deal with intelligent people. So anyway, we're going to have to go on the assumption now that I've lied and I've spread propaganda. So what they might not have realised, because I like to give credit, if someone's video is included in my content, I don't do it every video because sometimes I actually forget. It's not intentional. But if I remember, and for the most part I do, I'll put video credits in the actual description. And on this instance, there were so many videos I used, I organised them here. So you could argue this is propaganda. It's propaganda. You go and you literally do some research. I've given you all the tools to research. I've even put it into subsections. So video credits, Senate. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 videos relating to the Senate. Now, I would argue it in that situation when a senator or someone from Congress is asking one of Trump's I don't know what you'd call them, but the subordinates, whatever he's assigned them to do, they get called in and then they get questioned. And they're getting questioned on facts because that's what it's all about. That in that room is not propaganda. But you'll find that the people that Trump has assigned to certain roles are inequipped for the roles. They're just yes men for Trump. It's quite evident. They can't answer anything because they're going to get themselves in issues because they've obviously done something wrong, which has consequences. Plus, they don't want to piss Trump off because he'll just remove them. So you throw them under the bus and blame them for everything, So anyway, you don't have to watch long enough. You see it. That's Senate. Then we got protests. I've got 3 videos specifically about protests. Now, there might be a couple of others, but they might have gone under a different subheading because sometimes they overlap. But anyway, that was protest. Then we've got press questions and news. So you've got the press conferences. You've actually got the media. So these are established media outlets are actually asking the press secretary questions, or it's something where they've asked Trump directly. You can look that up yourself. I've shared that. We've got speeches where someone's making a speech, which I think is interesting. Again, you can take it one way or another, but you take people at their word, I think, is important. And then we've got other. So it could be anything and everything. And it might just be something that didn't quite fit one of those categories, but I felt it, obviously still include it because I spoke about it. Now, for the most part, the video that was commented on to say that it's you're not telling the truth and propaganda, I was, for the most part, reacting to each of these videos. So in what way could I have been? I don't get it. What are they saying? Maybe I need to timestamp a little bit, but I haven't got the patience at the moment. It's nearly 2 hours, and the whole point, the reason I don't always timestamp, and I know maybe people would love to, I don't create my content for people to skip their way around it. If you can't watch, I understand it's nearly 2 hours long, but let's say you was to come and watch this video and you watched it for maybe 10 minutes. If you stop, it will continue. When you come back, maybe in a week, month, day, whatever, it will continue where you left off. It remembers. So I don't really, my content isn't for you to go back and forward all the time. It's like, just watch the content, absorb the content. And if you take exception, make a note at the time. It's not for me to go through my video and spend another hour just timestamping it for people. I know some people say if it's not timestamped, I'm not watching it. It's like, then don't watch it. But don't be quick to react to something you haven't even seen. Because I've done it here. I've done all the work for you. Like, if I just do a random one, I don't know which ones are which. I know the Huffington Post had something that was interesting, so I'll do that one because I'll right-click it just so I don't lose it because I'm not sure if it opens outside. Anyway, so we've got a Huffington Post video. Let's see what one that is referring to. TikTok make your day. Wait a minute. Get rid of that. Why is that on there? So this isn't my video. I've included it in my video, and obviously
Does anyone have any questions for Patty or for me?
So that's the press. That's the press secretary asking people, like the media, whether they have questions for her after she's done all her talking. So they get to listen to her. She gets to be selective of how she answers. Then she asks, open room, who has questions? There's many people, at least there's 3 there, and I think there was a couple of others on the other side. So let's say there's about 5 people who put their hands up.
No. Anybody? Okay. We'll see you all later.
She didn't want to answer them. Now, is that lies and propaganda? Like, you surely seen it for yourself.
Does anyone have?
It's just easier for me to show snippets through this way than show my reactions. You can go through my video and see my reactions if you want, but I'm really just reacting to, where's the freaking video gone now? I'm getting annoyed. So let's do one of each, shall we? Let's do the Senate now. What's this one? We'll do one from each section.
How many generals and admirals have you fired?
I don't know the exact number, but...
You don't know the number. It's 8. Can you explain?
So this is the Senate now. This is where they actually talk facts. This isn't even up for debate. The person they're talking to will try to wiggle around it. They can't get away from the facts. It was actually a really good video I saw earlier, and the man said, no. We can all have an opinion, but we can't alter the facts. The facts are the facts. And it's like, that's where they get tongue-tied. So understand why they're getting tongue-tied, because they're the ones that are lying. So this guy is pulling him up on facts.
Explain why any of them were fired? Like, just explain why was...
They all serve at the pleasure of the president. And I think
no, I'm just asking you why.
General Kane is a great example.
I'm just asking you why.
That we need
you probably learned at Princeton what why means. Why did you fire him?
They serve at the pleasure of the president, and we want better representation in each and every of those.
You can't explain why you fired any of them?
So, effectively,
for the pleasure of the president,
he fired generals because he wanted people who would conform to whatever agenda Trump had rather than the best interests of America. It's quite apparent because he's getting called upon it by, I don't know if they're senators or Congress, but I think it's senators. But either way, high-ranking officials are questioning him on it, and he is fumbling and not answering directly. So it's an opinion, of course, as to the reasons why, but I wouldn't argue me speaking my truth is me lying. It's my opinion. An opinion isn't a lie, is it? That's ridiculous. And how on earth is it propaganda? Get your head out your ass. It's like jokers. People are just so stupid. Like, I get fed up with thick people. I really do. I can't even be polite about it. So we've done said and we've done that. Now let's do the protesters. Now, bear in mind, I've seen live content here. So this is where I form an opinion. I've literally watched live content where someone, I think they were an independent journalist. I don't think they were like a huge established journalist, but they were literally on the side near a wall, and there was protesters to the side of them, and then they were literally standing right next to the police line. So the police, by the way the journalists were behaving, it was quite obvious they weren't a threat. They weren't behaving in a way that was confrontational. They were literally just documenting, recording. They must have been able to hear him say, I've lost my credentials. I've got trying to find my credentials. They must have understood that that's what they... So the fact that they're that worried about how the police are going to react is crazy, you know? And I'm watching that firsthand myself. So people can have an opinion on it, but I'm seeing that. People tend to have opinions because they pull shit out of their head. They just listen to Trump. Live in fantasy land. But anyway, let's get back on track. So let's get back to the protest. We'll do the middle one, whatever that one is. And I've got to turn the music off. What I said on these ones, because I'm very transparent, is I haven't been to California, so I don't know LA. So I've even said in another video, if anyone even got to it, there was a point where a load of people were commenting, going, "Oh yeah, I'm supporting California," and I looked at the video and I thought that's in China. See, yeah, there are some videos that are not authentic and they're misrepresented, and I'll point that out if I see it. So like I said, with these videos, there's an awful lot of people, but the fact that it says ICE here, I can't zoom in. If I try zooming in, it don't work. You can zoom in for yourself. Right here, it says ICE, which would lean towards it being recent, because ICE has been like a recent term, I think. I don't think people have really been talking about that before in that anagram. So that would suggest it's recent, which would add a bit more authenticity to the message. So I would argue that without knowing Los Angeles and California, I'm confident enough to think that it's probably California. But it could be anywhere in the United States, but it would stand to reason based on the thing. Again, that's an opinion. I'm not saying it's fact. So it's not a lie if it's an opinion. God damn it. What idiots. So there we've done a press conference, we've done protest. Let's do a speech now. What should we do? This might even be Trump. Who knows which one this is? Who's talking now? Oh, the police chief. And I made the point. I reacted to everything he said. It was everything I spoke about was facts based off what he said. So where the hell's the lies?
I'm going to break it down for you. All right?
Click the links yourself. Validate for yourself, you know? I'm trying my best to paint the picture here. I went out of my way to do this before this bloody comment, and they didn't even have they had audacity to leave stupid statement. Not even a statement, really. It was like a line. And they didn't even go and do any research. Like, okay, you don't want to watch all my video, but you can at least watch these. GavinNewsom.com. So we know this is him. So this is the governor of California. So this is under other. So this is where there's like different things. It wasn't like, it's not a news conference. It's not this. This is where I think he's mocking Trump. It's great.
We can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to have.
So read it here. 2020. 2020. So that was when he was, I guess 2020 was when he was president last time. So he's saying about he can't call in the National Guard because he doesn't have the authority under those circumstances. And yet fast forward to his second term as president, all of a sudden he's calling in he's doing the exact opposite that he said he couldn't do last time. He's saying it himself.
Can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that. Even in a Portland case, we can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor.
Hundreds of National Guard troops now on the ground, deployed by President Trump, even though state leaders say they didn't ask for them and don't want them there.
I don't know who needs to.
You know, there's only so much you can do for people. There really is. It's like, There's always going to be people leave comments because people can't seem to just like walk on if they've got nothing positive to say. If you've got nothing, not even positive, if you've got nothing constructive to say, then just move on. Like, what's the point of reacting all the time? It's like, like I said, I don't do that. So just like, what makes people so impulsive? If you've got something to add, then add it. That's the point, isn't it? It's like that's what annoys me. It's the fact that it's not constructive in any way. It's not articulated. It's not intelligent. It adds no weight to a conversation. It's an absolutely pointless statement. I get excited. Like, if I see something, I'm like, oh, I can react. Like, what they got to say? I'll listen to it, and then I get to react. And it's always. It's very rare that I get an intelligent, articulated statement in response to anything I do. It's always, if there's ever a negative comment, it's usually just some imbecile who has literally just decided to just stamp shit everywhere. And it's like nothing, no additional weight to the conversation. So just simply saying you are not speaking truth, you're speaking propaganda. What a ridiculous statement. I've just shown examples of my reaction to things and what I'm seeing firsthand myself. If anyone's doing propaganda or not speaking the truth, you'd say it would be the content that I'm referring to, because that's the original source to that speech. Like when I'm talking about things. So you would argue that in those instances that's not true. Well, how's it not true? He's talking live on stage. He's literally talking about how he's going to handle any protests in Florida. So that's not true. What? Then we've got Hegseth being questioned by, again, I don't know if it's Senate or Congress. I think it's the Senate. Very high-ranking officials. What's not true there? And here are protests. What's not true there? And there's the press secretary. You get the pattern here. Yeah, just ridiculous. Like, try and watch a fucking video before commenting stupid shit. That's what I would say. Idiots.